Some days later, I spot Rin and Sai standing together in front of the gallery as I walk down the street toward the gallery. They seem to be talking to each other while Sai has a smoke. Good afternoon. I say this even though it's not really afternoon anymore. It came a bit later than usual since I caught up doing homework. It's gonna be dark soon. Hello there, Sal. Came to visit the little kitten again. Rin makes a face at the nickname because she doesn't like it. Ironically, the way she wrinkles her nose like that does make her look a bit like a cat. Hello. Sai turns back to Rin to continue the conversation they were having. So in other words, everything is going well enough? Rin makes a difficult expression and turns her face away from me for some reason. It's difficult. It's like I'm missing something. But I will do it. Work hard and it'll be fine. I'm gonna have to start working on my part of the preparations. I need to do a sales catalog, invitations, decorations, advertisements, so on. I need the names for your works. We also need to think up some general theme for the exhibition. They don't have anything like that. They're not very good with words, so I don't use them. If I cannot use them, I mean, sometimes I have to, but it's not like this. What? I have to, but I think this is not a time like that at all. You don't like naming your work? I don't like it. Well, I guess it's hard to come up with a good name for something like this. Rin shakes her head vehemently. It's not like that. It's as if... It's like if I paint a cloud and call it octopus, people will think about it differently than if I paint a cloud and call it the end of the world. Every name is wrong. Nothing ever explains what I feel like when I make the painting. It's not a word thing. The only thing that would come up with new words for everything, but it would help after all. But would it help after all? No, I don't think so. Then the paintings would just go unnamed number 1 and so on. It's a bit inconvenient, but that's no good. Unnamed means that you didn't come up with a good name. And unnamed is a name. Like that Greek guy with the sheep. I don't know that one. Sai thinks about this for a while, furrowing her brow as she keeps looking at Rin's serious face. So you're saying your artwork should be completely without labels? I think that's what I'm saying. Sai lets out a dry laugh, like the kind old ladies who smoke too much seem to end up with. Let's hope your art will never end up in a museum. The curators would explode. It's a weirdly fucked up thing to say to somebody. She takes a contemplative puff off her cigarette, which has worn down not much more than the butt. Then she drops into the ashtray, fixed on the wall next to the door. Then again, it could work. What do you mean? This namelessness, this rejection of labels, it works. It's a good unifying theme. Some people try to grasp onto easily. It allows for a lot of room for the interpretation, and it gives a good impression. Think about it, all sorts of associations can make, starting to identify the self-definition, all the way to whatever you want to think about it. We could call your exhibition nameless and build it on that theme. How does that sound? Rin thinks about this for a while. Not sure how Sai managed to get so fired up by Rin's reluctance to apply names to her works. Feels like she might be extrapolating too much, but it's a pretty impressive sounding idea. I don't think it's a bad idea. For what it's worth, I have to say it sounds pretty good to me, too. Sai reaches into her pocket for another cigarette, lighting it with a neon green Montaigne highlighter. Lighter, not a highlighter, what the fuck. Her forehead wrinkles as she rubs it, appears to be furiously think about on this idea. What? She doesn't say a word for a little bit, but every now and then she takes a sharp drag from the cigarette. Yeah, I think this would work nicely. I'm gonna take this starting point and work from there. I'm gonna go work on this. You go back upstairs and try to find your missing ingredient. I'm sure it'll come to you sooner or later. Rin doesn't reply, so Sai takes one last pull from her cigarette and drops it into the tray, enjoying the others of its kind. The gallery owner turns to head back inside, but is stopped by Rin as she reaches for the door handle. Sai, what is it, kitten? Can I have some cigarettes? Ooh. This is crazy. Getting crazy. Sai, she looks at Rin incredulously, clearly not having expected such a direct request. Not that I did either. Don't tell your teacher. Don't tell your parents. She stuffs the packet into Rin's pocket along with the neon green highlighter. Fuck, lighter. Why am I... It's because it's neon green. That's literally it. My brain says neon green highlighter. That's it. It's just a highlighter now. The day is already falling into dusk when we climb up the stairs leading up to what is now basically Rin's atelier. As we go inside, Rin doesn't seem to be able to settle down. She keeps pacing around the room like a caged animal looking through the skylight at the burgundy-colored dusk. The last light of the sun's advance across the sky reflects the clouds floating over the town, filling every corner of the atelier with blazing orange light. So, painting is going well? She blinks, then relaxes her muscles. I didn't realize how tensed up she was until now. Not really. I haven't painted in 3 days. I'm going in squares. Circles. If you say so. I tried doing things a bit differently, but it doesn't work. Now the old way doesn't work either. I need something more. It's not enough like this. Rin's response gives me pause, since as usual I can't exactly understand what she means. Although really, I shouldn't have expected anything else. She either says nothing at all or too much. Trying to comprehend and follow her train of thought feels like wading through jungles of Borneo, equipped with a wooden spoon and a map of Hokkaido. What the fuck? It's annoying if her thoughts are both laid out in plain sight and hidden from view every time she opens her mouth. So I have really bad hiccups. Wow. What more? You said that sigh as well. I'm missing an ingredient? I think I have to destroy myself. Okay, that sounds unnecessarily grim. What do you mean? Rin's shoulders slump as she turns to face me directly. I have to change. I've tried, but this is not enough yet. I have to destroy myself first, I think. Just to be clear, you're speaking metaphorically, right? Like learning to paint from scratch again or whatever, so to speak. She shrugs her shoulders as if there's no difference. There is no difference. So, you're going to start by smoking a cigarette for inspiration? Maybe. I've never tried this before. Have you? No, can't say I have. Still, I'm not really sure if having a smoke is the best starting point. She responds to my words with another nonchalant shrug, and I open the cigarette pack and look inside. It's almost full. Smoking's bad for you, but that's the idea here, I guess. Yes, I need to do something. I want to paint. I need something more. So, okay, fine. What's after smoking a cigarette then? How do you intend to destroy yourself? Rin thinks for a split second, averting her gaze that she does when she doesn't want to get distracted. I don't know yet. I'll decide later. Rin bends down to pick up a cigarette from the end, raises her head with... Damn, she could do that. That's crazy. Raises her head with one between her lips and turns to me. Eyebrows curved into 2 arcs, challenging me to respond. She can't light it, obviously. With a sigh of resignation, I pick up the lighter and raise it to meet the cigarette. I could feel Rin's warm breath against my quivering hand. There has to be like a system in place here, I feel, because she can't just like, I guess maybe she could take it out, but like, it must be hard for her, right? Like, I have to be the one to like pick it up and do it and then give it back. Pass the blunt. Anyway, the flame flickers. Third strike of flint. I try to aim the dancing of fire at the end of the cigarette. An amber-colored glow spreads the wrapping paper and tobacco as Rin inhales the first smoke. It seems to relax her significantly. That's crazy. To my surprise, she doesn't cough, despite telling me that she's a first-timer. Rin seems to remember that it's hard to blow smoke out without spitting the cigarette out as well. Yeah. She quickly sits down on the floor, bringing her foot to her lips like a circus contortionist, and expertly picks the filter between her 2 toes. Alright, never mind, I was wrong. I get down to the floor as well. We both lie down almost simultaneously while Rin blows a steady stream of smoke towards the dim sky beyond the glass, the skylight, looking after it thoughtfully. Ooh. The thin haze of steely blue smoke slithers towards the smoke like... Towards the ceiling in fish-like movements. It billows in the stagnant air of the atelier, twisting and turning around its own immaterial body till it dissipates in thin air. What's the word for smoke that looks like that? There's no word for that. Maybe you should come up with one. Maybe. Rin takes another quick experimental drag. How the fuck can she do that when she's laying down, bro? That's crazy. I guess maybe she like does a sit-up and does it real quick. It's not very tasty. Feels like inhaling dust lying on top of a forgotten book about the memories of a dead kingdom. Do you want to try it? My hesitation unintentionally surfaces again, making me freeze in the face of a rather trivial and commonplace challenge. Rin's ability to take everything so coolly is something I'm a bit jealous of. Alright, Sal, stop. This is not good for your heart. You have a condition that says you shouldn't do this. She doesn't. Although nobody should smoke. Let's get that off rip. But, like, you specifically should not do this. Whatever. It's one cigarette. I'm sure it's fine. Nice. Sorry, the art is nice. It looks aesthetically pleasing. Taking it from her, I have a drag on it. Fighting against the sudden choking feeling in my lungs as they fill with smoke. To my embarrassment, I fail, wheezing and hacking my lungs out. Every time I feel okay, I sneeze again. This sucks. I feel flustered, but maybe I haven't lost too much face in Rin's eyes. It's less unpleasant on the second try, but I still pass the cigarette back to Rin. Over her eye. Fuck. We're like a pair of budding delinquents in middle school, sneaking their first smoke out of sight of their teachers and parents. Well, I suppose it's not like that. I suppose it's not like. That's exactly what we are. After a while, the cigarette has shrunk all the way down to the filter. Rin is still looking quietly off the skylight. With her looking out there, the silence inside the atlayer seems to deepen even more. Are the cogs of creativity turning behind those eyes right now? Do another one. Sorry, the image just looked funny the way it moved. I mechanically pick up another cigarette, light it, and place it on Rin's lips. She takes a quick few puffs, moves awkwardly around with her lips. Not understanding her garbled words, I glance over at Rin, and it looks like she's having trouble with the cigarette. Pick the cigarette from her lips and place it onto mine, abandoning the common sense and good reasoning while I do so. The first one should have been enough for me, but I take another drag, still coughing at the unpleasant sensation of smoke invading my respiratory organs. It's not good for you, bro. I remember doing something like this before. So you have smoked? Doesn't look like it, though. Nah, lying on my back looking at the sky with you. No. The sky on the other side of the glass is slowly growing darker. It's unreachably high, even if the shivering smoke seems to make it closer. I return the cigarette back to Rin's mouth. Feels bad somehow. The space between us, less than arm's reach, is still there. The distance between us, the immeasurably wide chasm of thoughts and feelings that separates us with graver certainty that even light years of physical distance could. By saying the right words, there might just be a way to make the chasm grow narrower, even just a little. I try to cross that gap with one big step, but Rin turned me back. I glance at her out of the corner of my eye. Rin is staring upward through the smoke-filled ceiling and skylight at the darkness that's darkening the sky above us. It's almost like she's sleeping, even though I know she isn't. Her eyes are open, as is her mouth. I take the cigarette from Rin before it falls on her cheek. She doesn't react to my touch in any way. So this is where we are now. Damn. Wonder if we can ever be closer than this. Take a drag off the cigarette and blow a thin stream of smoke upwards. These indirect kisses are the only thing that connect us right now. That's so sad the way you're saying it, bro. The taste of Rin's lips on the filter mixed with the ashen taste of smoke. Her soft lips against my fingers as I press the cigarette on her mouth, as if she was placing kisses on them. The ash softly falling on the floor between us like snow. As the second cigarette is beginning to finish off, I begin lighting the third one. Bro, that's insane. You should not be doing that. The other thing breaking the stillness of the atlayer is the inaudible sound of the smoke floating upwards towards the falling stars blinking overhead. A little nausea hits by the fourth or fifth cigarette. Yeah, you're definitely gonna be sick, bro. That's normal chain smokers, I don't think could fucking do 5 like in 5 minutes, bro. That's not true. I'm sure they could. I don't know the stats, but fuck. Before long, the shape of the waxing moon appears in the skylight, shredding her wane down on light. Wane light down on us. It'll be a full moon in a few days. It'd be nice to be able to fly. I flinch after realizing my own voice that gave birth to this remark. The bastard child of the almost inebriating smoke and tiredness. You can't? You can. Sometimes I feel like it. Like I can do anything. I wish I felt like that too sometimes. What if she hears the bitterness seeping into my words? The vicious cycle of unrequited feelings is poisoning me, even now. I try to push the grim thoughts aside. My efforts meet with this little success as my mind keeps swirling around what ifs and if onlys. Watching the moon slowly creep higher, I realize that a long time has passed since I came here. It sobers me somewhat, but also reminds me of the sad status quo we're in now. It's late. Guess I'd better get going back to school. I stand up to leave, but Rin doesn't show any sign of raising from the floor. She lies, inanimate, as though all life had sapped from her. Little wisps of smoke float around her, memories of the cigarette we shared. I grasp her by her short, thin arm and try to pull her up. To my surprise, she complies, even with... Really? She complies and stands up with some help for me. I notice how little Rin weighs, as if she were made of feathers. Are you going to stay here overnight? I have to. I haven't painted much in 3 days, and I have to find out how I can start painting. Maybe the smoke helps. Just take a break. That's no good. I have to do it. If I can't paint anymore, I'll be destroyed for real. Maybe you just burned out. You've been working pretty hard. That would be bad. I wonder if this is for me. I want to see how far I could go, but maybe this is the end. The end. You just have artist block. It's not that big a deal. That's the word for when you can't paint, right? I've had that before. Never like this, though. I pick up a brush, then I want to put it down right away. Then I do. 3 days. It's like I've forgotten how to paint. I didn't think that was possible. Like, more impossible than Emmy growing wings and a tail. I'm sure artists have made that possible, Rin. You need a break. I mean, I get that you're trying to go deeper inside yourself for your paintings, but it's not that healthy to stay inside your own head for so long. I glance at the sky, night sky visible through the window. A couple of stars are weakly twinkling above the city. And that's where we'll end that one, because that one's funny. Unless we actually go home, but I don't think we are. They remind me of something I used to do once upon a time. Feels so horribly long ago. Come on, let's go outside. Where? Just for a walk. I'll show you my secret place. I don't know if this works in this town, but we can try. In any case, you need a break and probably something to eat. Come on. You need to get your thoughts away from this for a while. When they're troubled, most people escape from their unhappy lives into a world of fantasy. I did that before, and still do today. Reading books, endlessly immersing myself in the world, rather than my own. Rin's escape should be on the other way around, though. Out of her inner world and into the real. Rin doesn't look happy about this, but I ignore her. At least she's somewhat cooperative, walking after me as we head down the stairs and then to the sidewalk. Night has fallen upon the town. It's a gentle summer light, smelling of flowers and hot asphalt. The sunlight is replaced by shining neon colors and bland yellow streetlights. The air is easy to breathe, as if the air pressure was noticeably higher than usual. Yeah, you're just fucking in a room full of smoke, bro. The feeling of daytime in the hot summer has lasted into the long evening and night. Grab Rin by her sleeve, as I've seen Emmy do, and to my surprise, she obediently follows. The pale streetlights fight against the all-enveloping darkness as we walk together, the guide and the guided, although neither knows the destination. But it doesn't matter. This is one moment where the usual silences that have become a ritual between me and Rin at last fit perfectly. We walk side by side, choosing directions on impulse or inspiration. Sometimes we find ourselves back at a street we'd seen once or twice. Sometimes we find new streets. All of them look asleep. Rin doesn't ask where we're going. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she knows I don't have an answer. The silence of the night isn't scary. After all the lights drove most of it away. The air grows cooler as the moon progresses along its journey in the cloudless sky. Few cars roam the streets at this hour, and even fewer people are on the sidewalk. The apparent lack of nocturnal life is somehow befitting in this place. There are around-the-clock shops at cafes, sure, but the atmosphere is like the town itself is slumbering. A town that sleeps 8 hours a day. The city I grew up in, bathed in the electric glow of a million light bulbs, never slept. I haven't seen it for myself. It's not the first time I've done this. It happened one of the first times I was home alone. Both of my parents had business trips, and neither could cancel, so they deemed me old enough to survive 2 days on my own. Their misplaced trust in me did not go to waste as I proceeded to spend the entire night walking around the city. Even afterward, I couldn't say that what made me stay downtown longer than I intended to after school. I didn't feel like going home, so I stayed through the evening and eventually through the entire night. I walked along concentric circles around the landmark chosen at random. For some reason, the nighttime city felt fascinating, so I walked its streets. At every intersection, it was possible to choose your destination at random because they all led nowhere. Sorry, I'm hiccuping so bad right now. The aimless wandering had made me see things differently. I hope it'll do the same for Rin. We stopped by some hot coffee and snacks from a vending machine, then located a bench where we could sit down and eat. There's no time at night. What? There's no time in the night of the town. There was no time in the night of the town, so we spent an unknown amount of it just sitting there, observing the stillness that usually vivid townscape. Still, it's getting very late, and soon it'll be getting very early. So, this is it? Hearing Rin's voice surprises me. She doesn't sound bored, rather her tone is inquisitive, uncertain as to why I dragged her out here, yet curious to find out the answer. Yeah. Have you ever been out at night? It's like a different world. The remark sends her thinking for a while, looking as if she was looking for something. The wisps of light reflecting from the corners of her eyes are suddenly very sharp. It's not a different world. It's the same. Just asleep. What do you think the town is dreaming of? Maybe like car sheep or building sheep. Building sheep. Why are dreams always about sheep? I've never had a sheep-related dream that I can remember. Flashbacks to just Catherine play like really hard. Two different towns dream of different things. Probably. How could they not? I answer half joking, half spurring her on. For the first time tonight, it seems like a bit of Rin's life has returned to her. She doesn't continue at her list of rhetorical questions, though. Instead, she leans back a little and looks up at the moon traveling above the town. A cool breeze blowing between the buildings seems to steal the conversation away before it really begins. It's too bad. It sounded like Rin would get out of her blue mood. Wish I could somehow know the right things to say, but I realize I can't do that the way I am now. I'm too far apart from Rin. Haven't really managed to crack her open. She's just too complicated. It's like she's open to everything, and equally interested and disinterested in everything from the outset. In truth, she is locked tighter than anyone else I know, even myself. Sometimes she locks herself inside the inner world, shutting everything else out. And other times her thoughts flow freely from her mind, but not organized in any fashion that would make them seem intelligible to the rest of the world. What comes out is in the form of paintings I can't interpret. To me, it's just a sea of colors and shapes, not a message. She's too far away. I know now that it was a bad idea to try to reach her in the way I did, but I can't help liking her. I look at the fingers in my right hand, trying to remember what Rin's lips felt like against them. Do you ever feel like you're trying to reach out for something that's impossible to reach? Rin turns her gaze to me, tilting her head quizzically. I wonder if she understands the meaning of my own rhetorical question or not. Either way, I like how I managed to catch her attention while just speaking aloud nowadays. All the time. At least I think so. That's what painting feels like. A lot of the time. Or all the time, I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling that I can't really paint what I want. Sometimes it feels like just another shadow of me. Like a mirror that doesn't work right. Like talking? Maybe. When I was little, I didn't really have friends. Maybe it's the same now. The only things I liked were pens and paints. They were the only things that understood me. Now it feels like it's going that way too. Change is a really scary thing. I wish I could understand you. She looks at me melancholically, aroused by my thoughts materializing as words spoken aloud. Me too. Whether she meant she wished for me to understand her to understand me, or for her to understand herself, I never ask, nor do I find out. I see her eyes searching for mine, serious and cryptic as they are. I'm not getting any explanation from there. Don't worry about it. I will. Small hints of a smile are wavering on her lips. Whenever she's like this, it makes me feel like there's hope for us. We get along so well for being so different. Just that we never get along precisely because we're so different. Maybe it was Rin's passionate approach to her own exhibition, or perhaps my own careless words, but last week was different from usual. The small friction between us seems to be somewhat volatile, but at least now we're back to normal. The small friction between us seems to be somewhat volatile, but at least now we seem to be back to normal. Sorry, relatively speaking. We stand up from the bench and pick yet another direction in which to go. The wee hours of the night slowly pass us by as we measure the streets of the town, one step at a time. We're finally at ease, not minding the rare and lone passerby, the eerie darkness, each other, ourselves. Rin's steps seem lighter, like the heavy air around her is letting go a little. Makes me feel happy. We don't talk, save for these single remarks that are spoken into the night of the town and were never answered. The details jump into the eye instead of being the usual blur as they are during the day. As the night sky above the town changes from the deep dark blue to gray, I know that our night is soon ending. It's almost morning. Rin looks up too and nods at me. It's true. The light coming from the morning is creeping through the sky, climbing higher by the minute. Feels surreal. The sun won't come up for a while, but I don't get the feeling that the end of this night is really here and now. Should we head back? Rin nods again, twice, her hair waving in the breeze that seems to be heralding the coming dawn. Abruptly, she takes off, taking the lead in this walkabout, which I'd brought her. Seems like she really is in a better mood. This, too, makes me feel happy. Rin's navigational skills are probably not much better than mine, but we eventually find ourselves right in front of Sai's place. I don't know if this was any help. I did this once before, but it was more because of a stupid impulse, or maybe restlessness back then. Maybe this was a silly idea and really didn't help you at all. She just nods as an answer. So, do you know how you're going to destroy yourself now? I have some ideas. I don't want to see you for a while. Don't come and see me. Do something else. Her ultimatum catches me completely off guard. What the hell? What's that about? You said that before you didn't mind. She's trying to destroy herself. You make her happy. She doesn't want to be happy. Get a hint, homie. I mind now. It's just for a while. I have to do this alone. I don't like that. Why? I don't want to go out like this. Why? I just don't want to feel this distance between you and me. She tilts her head like a bird, her eyes narrowing as little as she thinks. Then you can touch me. What? You can touch me if you want. You'd feel better, right? I don't know. Try. Where do you want me to touch you? No boobs or left ear. Other than that, you can decide. Why left ear? Fine. I raise my hand hesitantly, even though I don't know why I'm actually doing this. Is creepy, actually. Her eyes tell me that she's not going to explain. 1,000 thoughts race through my head, and I slowly bring my hand closer to Rin's face and press these fingers against her pale cheek. Rin feels soft and cold. This is creepy. I don't like this. She closes her eyes on contact and visibly relaxes. I could feel her soft breathing, her muscles releasing tension from her fingertips, caress her cheek. She doesn't rest her head against my palm or anything that you'd expect a girl to do in this sort of situation. In fact, she hasn't reacted at all, save for those now shut eyes. Once I withdraw my hand, she opens them again. Might just be an illusion created by the timid morning sunlight playing with my eyes, but Rin looks like she's holding back a smile. This is the problem with our relationship. Half the time I have no idea what's going on, and the other half I just fail to understand why things are going like the way they are. As usual, I'm not going to get an explanation. Rin merely steps towards the door. See you later. Damn. Then she disappears from my reach, an undefined period of time.